sometimes if my opponent has attacked a low single and is successful in getting behind me, notice my foot and my knee are pointed in front of him. It would be difficult for me to get this position, which was number one that we did. And while I could do this and then go with that last technique that we did when we threw him over his head, and that's a viable technique, the danger of that type of motion with most people that do it is that you overestimate how far you have to go, and if I go too far, I'm sunk. It's possible to do it from there if you're careful. Colby is behind me. My first priority is to keep his head down, and also I want to keep, and this is a little different than some of the other things we've been talking about, at least in this position, I want to keep his weight back. Why? Because he wants to finish typically by driving my weight forward. So, my first goal is to keep his head down and to get this foot out in front so I can post back. If this foot's back here, I've got no post back. He pushes forward, I go down. However, if he has my leg back here and I can post in front, I've got something to post. I'm keeping his head down. Now, Colby shoots in. He gets the angle. I can immediately, notice my knee is not down now. One option is to push the head down, step, and to throw through. Okay? Colby shoots in on me, gets the angle. One option is to keep his head down, step through from here, grab around, block, and finish. It's crucial that you don't step too far. And quite frankly, that's no small danger doing this when you're in a scramble situation. I think a little safer type of a technique to do is if Colby gets behind me here, first what I want to do, notice my knee is not down at this point. The first thing I want to do is I want to push his head down and I want to push into him, but you'll notice my butt is on his shoulder here. Because I would prefer him not getting so high up that now he has good leverage on me. So he comes in, I push his head down. Notice I'm kind of on his shoulder here and I'm pushing back. Okay? He's going to do his best to drive me forward, get my knee down and crawl up my leg and finish. So my goal is to not let him do that. Now, there's a lot of dynamic tension here. I'm pushing back, he's pushing forward. One thing I can do typically in here, and this is especially true if you don't have wrestling shoes on, push and then simply do a donkey kick out. We're pushing against each other. And it's not hard to leap out in a very dynamic and forceful kind of way. Colby attacks low single on me. Immediately, I'm pushing his head down. I'm presuming that he was just so quick he was able to get around behind me. Again, I would prefer to keep him low on my leg towards my ankle. I do that by keeping his head down, setting back on his shoulder with my foot out in front, and pushing back. I don't want to get him or allow him to be driving me forward and crawling up my leg where he's going to finish. So we're in this position. I'm pushing the head down, very tight, pushing against him. I know that he's very close to sliding off my foot here because he's at the lower part of my foot. So I leap out. And when I leap out, my knee comes forward. My foot gets in this kind of angle here. You want to make your foot align with your leg. And if anything, turn slightly in this way as opposed to out. Not like this, more like this as I come through. Notice that that would be much more difficult if Colby was indeed higher up on my leg. If Colby is higher up on my leg, especially above my knee, very unlikely that that type of technique would work. And if Colby is lower on my leg but below my knee, higher on my leg but below my knee. I've got much more distance to travel. There's a lot more friction and a lot more likelihood he may catch me at my ankle or at my foot by the time that portion of my leg is able to try to get out of that little circle he has by grabbing my leg. In review, he shoots in, gets that angle. I want to stay on top of his shoulder. His head is down, no different than anything else we've done. Pushing back in. I'm really pushing back. He's pushing forward. Notice I don't let go of this head. I push the head down, and then I'm going to pop out and then face my opponent. Colby attacks on a low single. He gets the angle. I come to this position. I'm pushing. Notice I keep my weight on his head. I do not let him get his head up. I keep his weight down. From here, I'm pushing back, and when I can, I'm going to pop out and face him, and we're up again.